Hey everybody, how are you all doing? I'm finally back in Canada. The flight home was actually a nightmare. The weather in Tampa was starting to get really bad on the Sunday, and actually a hurricane hit later that evening. Had I left 6 hours earlier, I would have been stranded in an airport, possibly even for a few days. Because of how windy it was, my flight back to here was delayed 2 hours. I flew from Tampa to Atlanta first. Then I had to run all the way to get to my connection to Seattle. The Seattle flight was quite bumpy. I got back to Canada around 1 a.m. in the morning, went to work the next day, and was just very, very drained. I've known about these transfer announcements, obviously, that have been going on at the club, but I didn't have a chance to make a video because I've spent the last, few hours or so sleeping. Spent my day off pretty much just relaxing at home and just getting back to life back, not just on this time zone, but just back in the city as well. But I am glad to be back. I don't think I could live in Florida. It's too hot, the weather's really bad, and it's too stormy. But negatives aside, some good transfer news has come out, and it's one that should be met with a lot of pleasure, by the way. West Ham United has confirmed the signing of German international striker Niclas Füllkrug from Borussia Dortmund. The fee remains quite unclear. I believe it's around 27 million, but that could be significantly less, according to ex-West Ham United employee. Füllkrug is a player that Tim Steidten knows very well, given that the pair worked with each other at Werder Bremen. And this is his first transfer over to another country, I believe. Füllkrug is 31 years old, so he's not exactly young, but he has signed a 4-year contract. And as far as his statistics are concerned, he's in quite a big peak of his career. He averaged a goal per game ratio while he was at Werder Bremen. I know that he was a very consistent goal scorer last season for Borussia Dortmund. He played in the Champions League final, I think, as well, which is saying something. In the 2022-23 season, he was the Bundesliga's top scorer and was one of the players to be named in the team of the season. And he's just looks like that clinical attitude striker that doesn't let his attitude ruin who he is. Do you know what I'm saying? What I mean when I say that? And the interview that he gave to West Ham TV is actually very good. He's spoken about how there's a lot of quality in the team, players such as Paqueta, Bowen, Kudus and Somerville, with whom he was pictured on the day of the signing. He says he's got a lot of players who are fighting in the midfield and the defence, and he likes the feeling that he knows he can go to war with them. Maybe meaning that he fights for a place in the team, or maybe he battles alongside them as well. That's the mentality you want. He's willing to go and battle for the team. That's a good sign. I know that he's someone who's played for a lot of big clubs in Germany. I mean, Dortmund and Bremen were very traditional clubs and quite traditional cities. He mentioned that in the interview as well, that he likes playing for traditional clubs. There's none of this, I've always dreamed of playing for West Ham stuff in his interviews. It's all this, it's been in my dream to play for West Ham since I was a kid, because that's cringy. You're only saying that because you're there. He's now actually saying he is happy to be reunited with the technical director and play for the head coach. He's watched the games from last season and he's seen what the club's capable of doing. He says he's able to score with his left foot, right foot, and in the air. So he's double-footed and can score a variety of ways. So he's actually referenced a lot of current players in the team, so that's a good thing. He's referenced a lot of current players, spoken about what they can offer for him, and that's just complimenting them. And it's really good to hear. I welcome Füllkrug to West Ham because although he's not a young player, he at least was someone we can get the best out of at the club, and I hope it really pays off for him. If he's as clinical as he was in the Bundesliga, we're going to have a very good striker on our hands. Probably not the name we all expected, but that's okay. Sometimes we like surprises.